Today is CPI day and Bitcoin might just be waking up for its next move. So give me 10 minutes of your time and I will take you through my Bitcoin technical analysis and next move. My name is Igor and I am a coach at Chart Champion. So please stick around for 10 minutes and I'm going to give you some great insights on Bitcoin next move. Let's go. So BTC is currently on a daily time frame, one time framing lower. So as per my plan, every day I come into this market and I will do the same thing over and over again. It's called consistency with my daily plan. So daily we are one time framing down, as you can see on these RTH candles. So daily one time framing down. Weekly, let's go and check the weekly time frame. So again, one time framing down. So one time framing down on the weekly. Monthly, let's check. So the monthly is showing us on Bitcoin chart that we are currently with an inside month. This to me and to the Champions member is very, very interesting. And I will dive back in a little bit later and show you some nice nuances here on price action. But let's put this chart back on an 8-hour chart and then I will show you some nice nuggets here in a second. So the previous RTH session, the value for the profile shape is a B shape. So let's take a look at this together. You can see it's quite extended, but I'm seeing this as a B shape, as you can see there. Okay, so value is lower. So let's look at value very quickly so that you can understand what I'm looking at here. This is a TPO chart and I'm going to show you value. So this is the overnight session that I just hid. And now all you're seeing here is the RTH regular trading hours for the Bitcoin chart, the CME. And you can see that day upon day, we've been making value lower. So let's start with the 31st of Jan. So value lower, overlapping, lower, lower, slightly higher to take the highs and then back inside value. And again, yesterday, lower, completely lower. So we can say with a high degree of confidence that this market is still making lower lows and lower highs and value is lower. So still bearish. The excess, or in other words, single prints above and below lows, you can see that now we have a poor low from yesterday. I'm going to zoom right in so that you can see. So here we have one single print down here at 95.65-ish, and that will be a reference that I'm going to carry over for today's trading day. So the sentiment, if you don't know how to read the sentiment, I can quickly show you, and it's based on the value and the fairest value. So the fairest value on yesterday's price action sits in at around 95,465 or 95,500. So as you can see, from the high to the low, the point of control is closer to that lowest part of the profile. Therefore, I read this as a very much bearish sentiment. So still looking for lower. Right, now the overnight inventory. So let's take a look at this together and just open the profile up. There you go. So currently we have the open of earlier this morning inside yesterday's range. So we can expect a bit of chop and heading towards that value area high where we've already kind of like tapped that area, and that is my next alert for a proper good reaction on BTC going into CPI later. Okay, so we've opened inside value and we have value area high and value area low of yesterday's profile there. So inside, and we're neither long or short. We're just kind of lingering here for this morning ahead of CPI. So I'm just going to mark my levels very quickly and you can see we've got value area high, daily open, point of control, as well as the settlement all the way down there at 95,400, and the value area low is sitting in at 95.85-ish. Okay, so just to recap this zone here, we have value lower and price still seeking lower. Okay, we have a poor low. Again, this is unfinished business, meaning that if we can find any resistances above price, i.e. 96,800 to 97,500, that could be a potential good place to take a short into the lower targets, which is where I'm going to show you next what my insights are on that. So my remarks for Bitcoin are the following. Bitcoin is in a 13-week accumulation range. This is not a market you want to short. I believe in time, Bitcoin will go much higher into the 130,000 region. A catalyst for such move would be obviously the Fed to lower interest rates. That would give the next fuel that Bitcoin truly needs to get out of this big range. And I'm going to zoom out now and I'm going to show you this range that I'm talking about. So we have the market, and I'm going to put this on the 13-week here to show you the count. So let's open the balance so you can see, and this is the balance that we're kind of working with right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 weeks of sideways price action. What does this tell us? So markets usually go from trend to balance and then back to trend. Okay, so if we are looking at this market purely based on technical analysis, the next move on Bitcoin should be still to seek higher. Not unless we lose the range low, back testing it and rejecting it. Currently, we have none of that. Therefore, we have to stick with our underlying bullish market structure. And here's an example of a balance range. So you have a market which pre-balance is trending higher, and then we start trending on a big long range, and this was the 50k back test. So we get the back test, which is a look below and fail, go back inside, and then goes back to trend. So from trending to balance and then back to trend, from trending to balance and then potentially back to trend. If we break out of this range to the upside, I'm expecting $130,000 on the price per Bitcoin. Okay, right now, let me show you where I think Bitcoin could potentially find really nice support, especially going into CPI today. So this right here is an RTH chart. So this is the regular trading hours for the CME Bitcoin. And I have a gap that is still unfilled down here. This gap filled sits in around 94,340. Yesterday, we came down and we just made yet another double bottom here. We found a little reaction, but in my opinion, this is not sufficient to find the fuel needed to get Bitcoin out of this downsloping trend line. In other words, before the actual move happens, it would be nice to get something where Bitcoin comes down to reel in A, more shorts, and B, get the fuel that it needs to potentially then break out of this trend line. Any shorts that have been filled down here, they will then have to subsequently close those shorts, which are market orders, as buy orders, meaning price can then have the fuel that it needs to get out of this range and potentially start looking for higher. So this is what I'm looking next on BTC, a move below the gap, fill the RTH gap, and eventually reeling in some short trades to then push price higher. Again, so higher time frame, we are bullish on Bitcoin, we expect price to go higher, but before it does the higher move, we need to reel in some shorts in order to get the fuel needed to get out of this range. Now, back to our chart here, you can see that exactly what I said here. So markets usually go from trend to balance and back to trend. Okay, so the current higher time frame is up. Therefore, we have to go with the trend. Not unless, again, BTC loses that low, that we can then start to think, okay, potentially we could have the second option, which is going from trend to balance and then reverse, which is a trade that we can look for later. But for the time being, BTC, in my opinion, is going higher. But before it gets there, we need to reel in and we need that fuel in order to obviously push the market higher. So here's a few levels that I've pre-marked for the trading session of today. So to the upside, we have, let me just mark this. So to the upside, we have the first level, which is coming in at the value area high, and this is sitting in at 96,800. My second level is going to be the point of control of this range, which sits around 97,500-ish. Okay, so you will see in a second, once the VPRV or VRVP populates, you will see that it's around that 97. So this is the full range point of control, and it sits around 97,700-ish. So just always a zone there. So that will be my second level. And thirdly will be the big 100K, which in this case sits at a untested value area high. So for going into today, I'm looking for something where BTC can potentially push into A or B to then the subsequent move down to fill the gap, which is an RTH gap. And I'm going to show you this in detail on a TPO chart. So let me take you to this chart, which is a very detailed TPO chart. So here's the yesterday's RTH session. So we've opened, and throughout the whole day, we one time framed lower. You can see A session, C session, B, C, E, F, G, H, every single session trending lower. Towards the latter part of the day, we made a really poor low where J, K, L, and M all were at the same price tick, which is that 95.65-ish, which again, you can see here, it's actually the low as well. So this is a reference that we must carry forward. In other words, it's unfinished business. All right, so when you look left now to see, okay, what happened prior to this price action in the past, you can see that we have the 13th of Jan, okay, here, and you can see that there's still between 94,185 to 95,500, you still have a partial gap to be filled. So this is what I would like to see filled, and potentially the 91,500 being a value area low. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on those three references down here, meaning fill the gap potentially into value low, where we know there's quite a few orders waiting down here from the liquidity map. And I'm going to try and show you that as well, if I can find it here very quickly, and then you will see what I mean. So this is the liquidity map on the CME currently today, the obviously 12th of February, and you can see around the same zone, 91,500. That's where the thickening of the orders are coming in at. So again, back to BTC, looking for higher long term. In my opinion, this market can reach, towards $130,000, but before it gets there, we need to find that fuel, and I feel that fuel will come in down here. As you can see, that will be around the gap fill. All right, so that is it for me. I hope you have enjoyed this update on Bitcoin, and I want you to be prepared for what is to come next. So don't forget, we have CPI today, and we are looking for BTC to come lower, fill the gap, potentially reel in some shorts where everybody's going to get bearish, and then we can get our move into and breaking those highs above 100K and towards the all-time high, which sits in around that 110,000 and beyond. That's it from my side. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.